Hey, Coach, John Schumann, NBA.com. I'm curious how comfortable you are with like how much you guys have been in rotation in this series and the sort of the chase between their ball movement and your rotations, and whether that can sustain over a long series.
It's going to have to. They move the ball. So I think there's things we can be better at. And I think we've had some really good moments of being connected in those rotations and taking certain things away and forcing the ball to certain spots or individuals in certain situations. We've forced them to take a lot of shots at the end of the clock. They've made a lot of those shots. So there's some give and take there, but I think we've shown that we can be impactful when we're connected and doing it the right way. And they've shown that they do a great job of moving the ball and trying to, make the basketball find the open man. I think it'll be a little bit of tug of war there till this thing's over.
Jared, back right.
Jared Weiss, The Athletic. Yesterday, Victor talked about how he went to the park and did some drawing on his off day. I'm wondering, how do you like players getting out of the environment of the churn of the finals and the basketball and all the stressors of that and finding a way to decompress? And how do you feel like that helped yesterday?
I don't have any idea if it helped. I don't really get into what they do on their off time in terms of how that is associated with their performance on the court. I think everybody's different. Some people like to do different things or spend their extracurricular time differently. And so we try to value time in terms of not taking too much of it, being mindful when we ask them of their time. But in terms of how they spend their own time, that's up to them. Hopefully they just are trying to find ways to do it, because we are a little bit in the fishbowl just in terms of the visibility and whatnot. So if he went to the park and that was something to help him clear his mind or be a positive for him, that's great.
Fourth row on the left, Chris.
Mitch, Chris Mannix, Sports Illustrated. We were talking earlier in this series about how teams used to play smaller on Vic earlier in his career. I'm kind of wondering, how would you describe how he's able to kind of mentally dissect what teams are doing to him in games and make those adjustments on the fly?
I think the players of his caliber see so many coverages, personnel, groupings, matchups, take this away, force them to do that. Over time, I believe there just becomes a comfortability, and then that leads to familiarity and then even confidence of the pictures that they're seeing. That takes a lot of time. That's pattern recognition. Then in that pattern recognition, there's processing, and then at the highest level, there's manipulation and dictating by the greats that have done it over the years. And I think he's just on that same pathway in terms of he's now had 3+ years of seeing these different things while his body's evolving and maturing and growing, while his game is evolving, maturing, and growing, while his mind is evolving, growing, and maturing. And so it is an organic path. I say organic path for, I'm talking about the greats, the best players in this league. And, that's, again, from my perspective. I don't have the experience in it, but just I do think there becomes a certain level of processing and being able to, take advantage of something. You can't take away everything. We know that as a defense, right? So that's the highest level of understanding, whether it's for yourself, and then that's when you involve your teammates in being able to take advantage of every situation. And I think he's just made a lot of growth in that, and we're seeing that at the highest level.
Sam, all the way in the back right.
Mitch, Sam Amick, The Athletic. I wonder, with a team as young as yours, it wouldn't have been crazy if they let go of the rope in Game 3. You lose those 2 games at home. You're in this environment. What has your sense been of their belief? After Game 1, Vic says, "I'm not worried in the slightest." After Game 2, the second the game's over, he's encouraging his teammates, and it just seems like the belief didn't waver. What have you seen there, and how have you tried to impact that aspect?
Yeah, we've played over 100 games now, so what I've seen is we knew that the belief was going to be there. That doesn't mean you're going to win a game or lose a game just because you believe or not. There's a lot of things that go into it, but we've just been honest all year. So every time we keep getting asked about, do we believe, are we confident, can we do this? We do. And that doesn't mean we always play our best, and doesn't mean that we don't make mistakes. It doesn't mean we don't lose games, but we believe in what we put into this deal and each other and how we go about it and how we operate and how we're going to respond. And that's been through adversity and success throughout the season. And I understand the discourse around it, but that's not an age thing or an experience thing. That's a makeup and a personality thing.
Fifth row on the left, Kelly.
Kelly Go, Yahoo Sports. Coach, you often talk about spacing as it relates to the playmaking, the shots created from passing. In terms of shot quality, how are you seeing the types of looks you get when you have Dev and Jules on the floor as opposed to if you have just Dev or Jules, and are there any similarities in that?
Yeah, I mean, those guys obviously provide, especially for, you talk about the guys that play substantial minutes, the highest shooting performance over time and consistency. So those guys bring great space to Victor, who, draws gravity in his own way. And then the three playmakers that have the basketball in their hands a lot in terms of De'Aaron, Dylan, and Steph. So they're great fits with those guys. And again, every lineup a little bit is a puzzle, right? So, you want some more shooting, but now you need some more rebounding. Well, then what about the defense? Well, what about the ball handling? What about the speed? What about the matchups? What about what the game's calling for? Are you in the bonus? Are they in the bonus? And so those guys have been really, really good pieces. And I think more than their shooting, it's both their growth and everything but the shooting. There's a lot of guys in this league that can make shots, and then sometimes you hear a lot of times commentators, just because they're the one that's typically talking about the game, but, we can't play this person anymore because they're attacking him defensively. You can't play this person anymore because he's a liability in this regard. Those guys being winning players, team players in terms of defense, rebounding, being able to play off closeouts, understanding how to screen to get their teammates advantages, that's been a huge part of why they're so valuable to winning, along with the shooting piece.
Time for one more. Brian, in the right side in the middle.
Brian Mahoney, Associated Press. Mitch, kind of similar to the question you answered a couple minutes ago. In the last round, when the Knicks came back against Cleveland in Game 1, it was clear the Cavaliers never got over that. They were still talking about that game 2 or 3 games later. And Game 1, you guys weren't up by quite as much, but it still seemed like a gut punch kind of loss. And I know you say I know my team, but that seems like a situation that obviously no one faces. It's your first finals game. How, you don't say anything different to say, I know you guys have shown me before, but you haven't shown me quite this yet?
No, we acknowledge that this is the finals. We're not blowing smoke or trying to create a facade that everything's equal or not a big deal. It's just we acknowledge where we're at. We know what we're walking out of, and we believe what we're capable of, what we're walking into. And the added circumstances, attention, noise, external, whatever you want to describe it as, is understandably real, and we also don't believe that it has any effect of us winning or losing a basketball game. Just like we did last night, we're going to play a game tomorrow. It's going to be a hostile environment. It's on the road. It's against a really competitive, great basketball team, and we got to play to a level of execution standard and to our style of play to give ourselves the best chance to win. There's a lot of stuff that can be discussed that's going to go into that, and from our perspective, it really has no say-so on who's going to really probably end up winning the game.
Dylan, Matt Guzman, Spurs on SI. You mentioned last night that this is the first time yesterday that you felt unwelcome in New York. Mm-hmm. What has that experience been like for you? Have you ever been booed walking out of a hotel? Just, what has this whole thing felt like for you?
Well, it's my first time in New York, walking out and getting booed. I can say that. But, it's kind of been every series. I think OKC, we got booed a little bit. Not really much Minnesota and Portland, but I feel like it's New York, hostile environment. And, I don't think that it would feel the same if it wasn't just hostile.
Fourth row on the left.
Howie Casoy, New York Post. Dylan, you've had a lot of success getting to the rim in this series throughout the playoffs, but obviously in the finals so far, the three hasn't been there right now. I'm curious, do you expect the Knicks to kind of challenge you to shoot more from there? And then how do you decide whether, okay, I'm settling for the three that they want me to take, or am I just taking the open look?
I mean, I feel like, every night ain't going to be a night. So last night I couldn't make a shot. That's just the reality of the game. I mean, I'm going to keep on shooting them because I feel like confidence I have in myself, confidence the team has in me. But it's just really taking the best shot for the team, not for myself. And I feel like just yesterday's shots wasn't falling. So, I mean, I can't really hang my head too much because we got a lot more basketball to be played.
Second row middle.
Hey, Dylan, Adam Rosso, Spectrum News. You win a Game 7 in OKC. You come here last night with the environment, everything going on. You win again. What is it about this team? Like, why are you guys able to be so comfortable on the road and especially in kind of big environments?
I feel like we just stay together in environments like this. The biggest thing when we come to away games in the playoffs, for us at least, has been just staying together and just holding each other accountable. And I feel like with the level of desperation and desire that we played with last night, I feel like we're pretty hard to beat when we do that.
Third row, Mike.
Hey, Dylan. Mike Vorkanoff, The Athletic. The last 5 champions or so have spent a lot of time together, the core of their teams playing together, getting to know one another. These Knicks obviously have known each other for a long time. Some of them played in college even. You guys are all kind of in your first year together, essentially. Some have been before, but you just got here. De'Aaron didn't play last year, all that. How do you build that continuity and get to that place where you can play off of one another in a finals and kind of almost microwave that chemistry in a way that other teams have had years to develop it?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like we hang out a lot. We hang out outside of basketball a lot as a team. We do things like team dinner, or we play games as a team. And I feel like those kind of events and things like that make up for the years that we weren't together or the years that we haven't had. So the biggest thing is, I feel like, it's chemistry when you get in a building like this and you get an environment like this. And I feel like we have just as much chemistry and camaraderie and togetherness as anyone else.
Second row on the left, Jeff.
You've mentioned the hostile environment here, and usually Vic is the guy that's going to get the brunt of that. He's 7'4", he's the all-star. They're going to boo him. They're going to F-bomb him. How have you seen him react to being the villain in these kind of situations, for lack of a better word?
Yeah, he kind of just steps up to the moment all the time, no matter what moment it is, where we're at, what game it is. He's always going to step up. That's just the big-time player he is.
Last question on the last row all the way to the left.
Dylan, it has already been 3 games. When you look at the Knicks and what you guys are doing, what advantages do you think your team have over New York to tie the series and win the series?
I feel like biggest advantage, we kind of understand who we are. We understand what we need to do to win games in this type of environment. And I feel like for us is to keep stacking on possessions, on just staying together and being a team.
Is this thing on?
Last row, Julian.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, it's on.
Oh, hey, Dale.
What up, bro?
How does it feel to be one of the best guards in the league? No, I don't got no questions. I want to say hi, bro.
It's all good, bro. I feel like I have a great supporting cast. I feel like on the wing, if I ever needed assist, number 30 is right next to me. So, I feel like just as much as, I put pressure on the rim, we got great shooters like Mr. Champagne and stuff that just allow us to be great.
De'Aaron, Martin Seitune for Ritmo. You guys have been great dealing with adversity the whole postseason. The Knicks talked about a lot after being up 2-0 about the 0-0 mentality. I wonder what's your mantra, phrase, discourse you have within the locker room to keep up with yourselves?
Yeah, we're trying not to look at it as a series. We're looking at it one game at a time. Especially, when you go down 2-0, it could, especially while losing those games at home, it could look like, it's a real steep uphill battle. But we're taking it one game at a time. We know that our season's going to be over in, a week and a half, regardless, win or lose. So we're taking this one game at a time, looking at it as one game series.
Standing right here on my right.
What's up, De'Aaron? AJ DeBonsa, NBA correspondent. So you hit a big shot at the end of Game 3. What does that do for your confidence leading into Game 4?
I try not to let, making shots waver or boost your confidence. It's a make or miss league. I mean, we're in game 103 or 104 or something this year. So you try not to let that be the reason that, you play defense better or you box out better or you do all these other things that can affect the game. Because there are just days where you're going to come in and shots just aren't going to fall. There are going to be games where you can't miss a shot. But you try not to let that be the roller coaster that you ride throughout the course of a year.
Oh, good. Thank you.
On your left, Mike, second row.
De'Aaron, Mike Finger, San Antonio Express News. I think you were 25-26 when you were in a pretty epic 7-game series in the playoffs and saw kind of how overwhelming that can be to a young player. Have you been surprised at all by Dylan Harper, Stephon Castle, Victor Wembanyama, and how kind of unflappable they've been through deficits, through all of this?
No, not at all. I mean, you get around those guys and you kind of see their personalities, and they just don't have the personalities that you would think that are just gonna, just be overwhelmed by something, And I don't know what they're feeling on the inside, obviously, but what you see out there on the court with them, and just when you see it on their faces when, New York's going on a run, you don't see them panic. Obviously, there are going to be plays where teams are going on a run. There's going to be a bad turnover here, a bad shot there, and that happens even with the oldest teams or the best teams that have ever played. But you don't see those things just come into effect with these guys, and that's a big reason of why we're here. There have been times where we've been down 15-20, or we've been up 15-20, and the other team goes on a run, or we're able to respond. And you don't see that out of young guys like that all the time, but that's why we're so good, because we have the youth, we have the size, we have the athleticism, we have the poise to be able to withstand those things.
Melissa, towards the center.
Hey, De'Aaron. Since you played alongside Victor, have you noticed a shift in terms of him wanting to be well-liked to now embracing more of a villain role and kind of showing the league, if you play me physically, I'm going to give that right back to you?
Like by other people?
Yeah, within the league, perception-wise.
I mean, I don't think it's a villain role. If you get hit, you hit back. That's life, If life hits you, you need to figure out a way to get on your feet and hit it back. Vic's, every time he rolls, he gets tagged. He gets hit. If he's trying to go set a screen, if he's trying to box out, whatever it may be, he's getting grabbed, he's getting held. It would be crazy for him to think that he's going to get open by not hitting somebody. But that's basketball. It's going to be physical. No one expects anyone to come out here and not have bumps and bruises or injuries or all these things. I don't think it's trying to be a villain, but that teams are going to be physical with you, so you go out there and you try to hit first.
Dan, next row up on the left.
Dan Devine, Yahoo Sports. De'Aaron, you've spent some time kind of cross-matched on Cat in the series, sometimes off a switch, but sometimes just playing him straight. I'm just wondering, what's kind of job one when you got to deal with that cross-match on a bigger offensive player, and what do you like about what that matchup gives you guys defensively?
I mean, for me specifically, and I think this is with like a majority of the guys that I end up getting switched on to. Obviously, they're going to be bigger than me, so you try to get under them. I try not to let bigger guys dribble against me. Obviously, the closer they get to the basket, the easier that it is for them. And I think despite my size, I feel like I'm pretty physical, especially on the defensive end. And just being able to try to take those hits and stand guys up. If you can force a shot to be 13 feet rather than 10 feet, the numbers drop drastically. So that's the big thing for me. Obviously, not trying to give up a layup, knowing that I have help on my side, and then knowing obviously that I have Victor behind me, it allows you to be a little bit more aggressive on the defensive end. And obviously, you want to do it without fouling. At times, you're going to foul, but if I can be physical and stand bigger guys up and make those shots just a little further out, I feel like that's a win for us defensively.
Rachel, front right.
Hey, De'Aaron, over here. Hello. What do you think is the biggest challenge for you guys to win Game 4?
I think the biggest challenge for us is the same that it's been this whole series. Keep them out of transition. Don't turn the ball over and giving up offensive rebounds. That's when they've gone on their runs. And I think we've been in control of these 3 games most of the game. And whenever they hit us and they go on those runs, it's like how quickly can we respond? How quickly can we stop the bleeding? And that's pretty much been the series.
Again, here in the front.
Hi, De'Aaron. Sami Sadiq for the French media l'équipe. The series against OKC was very physical. Did something translate to the team in terms of like the aggressiveness you're playing with, the ability to get to the free throw line, the ability to be physical on defense? Did that previous series help?
Yeah, I mean, I think just all 4 of our playoff series this year. I mean, Portland, physical team. Minnesota, physical team. OKC, physical team. New York, physical team. All these teams have something in common, and then I think on the offensive end is where these teams are really different. I mean, neither of those other 3 teams shoot the ball like this team does. Neither of those other 3 teams play as fast as this team does. So knowing that, there's something similar that we can come out, but knowing that there's going to be differences in some of the nuances of schematics or personnel. I think those 3 series did help us prepare for the physicality that we were going to see. But I think defensively, we've made it tough on them. And something else that 2 of those 3 teams did is they rebounded the ball. They rebounded their misses really well. And that's what this team does as well. So I think we were pretty much prepared for whatever we're going to see. And I think that's why these have been good games. But like I said, we have to be able to stop the bleeding as quickly as possible, because those other teams, I think OKC does it, but those other 2 teams, they don't get their offensive flow from the defensive end like New York does. And when they're doing that, that's when they're at their best, and that's when it really hurts us.
Brian, front on the 5th row on the right.
It looks like there's been a couple times where, one of our guys gets deep in the paint, has a shot, and at the last second sees Vic and throws it to the corner, throws it 10 feet backwards. You ever have a moment on the court where you either get mad or even almost have to laugh that the worst that should have just happened, we gave a 2 and we gave up a 3 because teams just don't want to mess with that guy?
Yeah, I mean, that's been happening all season. We pretty much know that that's on every team's scouting report. 1, you want to pull Vic away from the basket, and 2, when you get into the paint, kickouts are there because Vic's going to be there. But I think as the course of the season's gone on, we've gotten better at rotating around him, and then he's also gotten better at rotating if he does need to get to the perimeter. So, I mean, we know what teams want to do. Teams know how we want to defend them. At this point, it's a battle of wills. It's a battle of who can execute the most.
Well, last question here in the front and the center.
Minor Castillo desde la cancha. Last night you seemed more relaxed, like enjoying more the game of basketball. What changed in your mindset coming to the game 3?
I mean, I would say just trying to ease yourself into the game. Obviously, being on the road, being in an environment like this, you know that it can get really hectic. And we talk about how poised I feel like our team has been. We've been a pretty good road team, I think, just all of the playoffs and a majority of the regular season. That's why we're in this position. But we find a comfort in playing on the road, knowing that when you're in this environment, it's us versus them, and obviously everybody in the crowd. And when you know that everybody behind you has your back, it just allows you to settle into these games.
Do you enjoy more playing on the road than at home?
I wouldn't say I enjoy one more than the other, but I do think whenever you're on the road, you have to be together, because most of the time, obviously, the thing is role players play better at home. So we know that when we come here, their role guys will more than likely play better, and we know that these are things that we can't allow to falter us in the way that we play, because it can get out of hand pretty quickly if you don't have a sense of togetherness when you're on the road.